Hey there everybody, how's it going? My name is Empyreal. Welcome everybody to Final Fantasy XIV. In today's video, I like to contrast and compare Bard and Machinist, the two jobs that I really liked in Heavensward, and I wanted to see what the difference between them would be like in Stormblood. I recently got Machinist to 70, and I've had Bard at 70 at the very beginning of Stormblood, so let's go ahead and begin by covering some of the aspects behind them, such as opener, rotation, and what they bring to the table with their cooldowns. Nevertheless, let's begin by talking about the one that was difficult for me to learn since I recently got it up there, Machinist, since it's been really fresh on my mind. We're gonna begin by explaining and talking about the opener, how I learned it, how you can learn it, and what's it like to actually execute it. Before I begin, I want to go ahead and thank Aiurily Ari for putting on great videos on their channel regarding Machinist opener and other Machinist based videos. Please go ahead and check them out. They have some good clearing videos and overall more videos of them testing out different openers and rotations and showing some things in the way they excel, such as how to play certain classes like Machinist. So thank you again, Aiurily Ari. Please go ahead and give them a gander down in the description below. Nevertheless, this is the opener that I received from them, from their video. They left a very neat FFXIV rotations flowchart that I can use for this. The sequence will start you off with loading in 2 bullets, and then in the beginning you would use a potion of dexterity. In my testing, I have not used a potion of dexterity because I wanted to see what would be the potential at raw, no adjustment damage. I just want to see if I could even do it as well and maybe clear V1 Savage Training Dummy, which I did. Then you go into Hypercharge, following up with Hot Shot, then Gauss Round and Split Shot. Then afterwards you reload all your bullets back in, and you Slug Shot and immediately transition into the Flamethrower all the way until it ticks down into your overdrive, in your overheat for your heat gauge mechanic. At that point, you will go into a heated split shot, followed up with reassemble and wildfire off your global cooldown. Reassemble first, wildfire second, following up with a heated clean shot, and then quick reload and rapid firing off global cooldown. Then heated slug shot, Gauss round, heated clean shot, ricochet, cooldown, Rook overdrive, and finishing it off with another cooldown. I realized I ran into a problem when I tested this out for myself because, first of all, I live on the East Coast connecting to California servers, and I also have Spectrum as an internet service provider, which if you ever had that, it's unreliable. And I also live with a twin that also streams and uploads videos regularly on their channel, so I do have latency spikes left and right whenever at random moments that I have. Some days I have perfect latency, some days I have kind of a crappy latency. I realized that in this opener, when it goes into overheat, I really struggle in squeezing everything together in order to do the most amount of damage, which is why my Machinist openers usually suffer because of ping, because I'm pressing the abilities but it's not able to respond, and it's not able to respond quick enough to everything that I'm trying to do. So sometimes there's some sort of a minor lag where things are a little bit at an impasse in a way. So my latency kind of screws me on the opener. I still do a decent opener, but not as good as I want it to be. I wish it was a lot better. I wish I had less ping, so I'd never had to worry about it, but it is what it is. Machinist opener is very clutch. You have roughly 10 seconds to squeeze everything in together. If you have good latency, and if you are able to follow along with the entire opener perfectly, then you are golden. If you're not, you're gonna struggle like I did, but it is what it is. I can't really complain much about it. It's whatever. I can still accomplish it, and I still do a decent amount of damage, just I wish my openers were more powerful. Nevertheless, as you can see in the video, I was able to still clear V1 Savage Training Dummy, no problem, and did even a decent amount of DPS over at the end. Now, talking about Bard, Bard has an extremely easy, stress-free opener compared to Machinist. The issue with Machinist is that you have to make sure you squeeze in the most amount of damage whenever you overheated and have wildfire up, which lasts roughly 10 seconds for both, in order to try to squeeze everything and pack it all together for high burst damage. With Bard, the opener is actually very simple, very easy, lets you ramp up to a very high amount of damage, and then you slowly start going down and plateauing at a very nice solid area. You will have spikes with things like Pitch Perfect and Empyreal Arrow possibly getting a really solid crit. But for overall, it's a very highly sustained, very nicely done, very easy to learn Bard opener. Does not require you to have high ping, low ping. It's a very stress-free opener that I personally like. Something that's very easy to learn, I think anybody can learn, is just a process of steps, a couple of abilities to use in between off global cooldown, and the only reason Bard opener is stress-free is because you don't have the clutch 10 seconds of squeezing your entire burst together like you have with Machinist, which is why I personally really like Bard. Granted, with Bard you do have a lot of utilities, you can be pressing left and right, so it's actually very comfortable that you have this easy opener and this easy rotation overall to use, because you can toss in things like Troubadour, Nature's Min, Warden's Paeon, and other utilities that Bards bring to the table. Nevertheless, if I had to rate which one is more, I guess, enjoyable, I think both will be really enjoyable, and it depends on your playstyle. Some people really love the fact they can squeeze in as much damage as they can with an overheat. It gives them, you know, the adrenaline rush, and did give me adrenaline rush as well. It's a fun opener to do whenever my ping doesn't screw me over. But the Bard opener is very reliable, very easy to do, not hard at all. Honestly, beginners can do this opener no problem. Since we're still talking about Bard, let me talk a little bit about the Bard rotation, which also, like the opener, is very easy and simple. Other than maintaining your dots and the crit buff of straight shot, it's not a difficult rotation whatsoever. You have to make sure you use Empyreal Arrow whenever it's off global cooldown, pitch perfect for the songs. The only difficulty with Bard at all is just maintaining the songs and swapping between them appropriately and perfectly while the mechanics are going to be happening for the static, as well as tossing in all the abilities that you have, things like Palisade, Nature's Min, Troubadour, Wander's Paeon, whenever necessary. It allows for Bard to really just play more of a support role and assist allies while doing a decent amount of damage, and the bards that are able to juggle things like their simple rotation, the song switches appropriately on time, and making sure they toss in different cooldowns in order to help out the rest of the party defensively, as well as the tanks defensively with Palisade and Nature's Min, then bards can excel in a job very easy. It's a very simple job, but it's a very rewarding job as long as you know how to maintain everything. You may have to observe everything around you, definitely, for sure, because you are maintaining the dots, make sure you maintain the crit buff, make sure that you're tossing out utilities when necessary, playing full Requiem when you think is necessary. The only ability that you have that has a cast bar anymore for Bard, which is amazing. But overall, it's a very fun and mobile job that I highly recommend even beginners to try out. It's really fun, really easy, and pulls out easy damage, easy DPS. It's honestly effortless for the most part. Now vice versa, I gotta also make a comment that Machinist rotation compared to the Bard rotation as a basic rotation is a lot easier, primarily because Machinist does not have the utilities that Bard has with Nature's Min, Warden's Paeon, the songs, the crit buffs that they can maintain, Troubadour. They don't have that. The only real utility that Machinists have really is called Dismantle, which lowers target's damage dealt by 10%, which is still really good. It helps mitigate the damage, but aside from that, there's really nothing. Dismantle to lower target's damage, and then Hypercharge to increase the damage that your allies do. After that, you run around and shoot. And that's about it. It's simple as that. Also, in order to maintain a high amount of damage of like basic auto attack, not really auto attack but basic rotation, Machinists have to stay within the heated range for the Gauss Barrel and their heat gauge mechanic. In order to get to that, you simply put on Gauss Barrel to enable your heat gauge back after you burst, and then use Barrel Stabilizer to reach yourself back up to heat gauge of 50. When your heat gauge is set at 50, your simple base abilities such as Split Shot, Slug Shot, and Clean Shot turn into Heated Split Shot, Heated Slug Shot, and Heated Clean Shot, which increases the potency of the damage that they deal. So it's a lot easier to deal damage as a Machinist, and you don't have the utilities to worry about aside from Dismantle and Hypercharge occasionally. Aside from that, you simply just run around and shoot. And aside from damage, I want to go ahead and cover and focus a little bit more on just the utilities. What do each job bring to the table for the static or the party? Let's start with Machinist, since it's a lot easier to explain what they got going on. For their job skills, they have things like Hypercharge, which if it's used on a turret, it can increase the target damage taken by 5% that lasts 10 seconds, which is really beneficial whenever you're going for the full burst or a full opener in the beginning. Also, Machinist on its own brings in Dismantle, which lowers target's damage dealt by 10%, which is a great way to counteract and countermeasure any kind of tank busters coming in. A really good ability to use. And that's what it comes in baseline. With cross-class skills, Machinist comes in with things like Tactician, which restores TP of yourself and others, Refresh, restoring MP of yourself and others, and Palisade, which reduces physical damage taken by a party member by 20%, a must-have if you're going to be using it on a tank, always grab it whenever you're going into a raid. It's a great mitigation for auto attacks that tanks will be experiencing. Primarily bosses deal physical auto attack damage, so it's a necessary ability. You can grab things like Peloton, which increases movement speed of self and nearby party members as long as they remain within distance if you want to, but when it comes to statics, it's not as important ability to grab in my personal opinion. So aside from that, let's summarize. We have Hypercharge, Dismantle, Tactician, Refresh, and Palisade for Machinist. Now this is where the disparity is really apparent when it comes to the utilities alone between Bard and Machinist. Just like Machinist, Bard has for Requiem, which is similar to Hypercharge, which increases damage taken by nearby enemies by 3% on all the enemies. MP is drained while singing, effective loss if target moved out of hearing distance, and ends upon reuse. So whenever Bard is out of mana, for Requiem cannot be used. There are ways, however, if you want to try to do it with your static or your party to cheese it, like maybe use a Ewer card with a Astro or maybe pop Refresh song in the beginning to maybe see if you can extend the full Requiem as much as possible. But granted, it's not set on a 120-second cooldown like Hypercharge is. That is actually what makes full Requiem really reliable. It means you can reuse it multiple times in a fight and more often depending on how fast you regain mana. And you gain mana pretty well, and you can use it real quick and gain mana again, use it again, and just refreshing it. Before we cover the rest of the stuff that Bard offers, let's go ahead and go through the cross-class skills. Just like Machinist, it offers Refresh, Mana Song, Tactician TP Song, and Palisade, a major utility to utilize. And now we're going to be coming into where Bard really differentiates and makes a huge despairing leap in the utilities that it provides. First of all, for Bard, we have Mage's Ballad, Army's Paean, and Wanderer's Minuet. Each of the three songs provide a 2% crit buff for everybody in your party, as long as they're within a radius of 20 yalms. Which typically, if you're in a boss fight, that's not a big of a deal. Everybody should be receiving it at all times at that point. And as long as Bard's able to shuffle songs back and forth normally as a part of the rotation, that extra 2% crit should be maintained at all times. But wait, there is more. I know that 2% crit buff does not seem very incredible. It's not a 5% or 10% crit buff or no battle litany, but wait, there is more that the songs can do. As well, when the songs are activated, Battle Voice can be used, which increases direct hit rate of all party members under the effect of your Mage's Ballad, Army's Paean, or Wanderer's Minuet by 15%. So it's extra direct hit rate on top of the crit, but wait, there is more. Also with songs can be used Troubadour, which adds an additional effect to the song currently being sung. Mage's Ballad increases maximum HP by 15%, Army's Paean reduces physical vulnerability by 10%, and Wanderer's Minuet reduces magical vulnerability by 10%. So when you have the songs playing, technically, you give 2% extra crit, you can add with Battle Voice 15% extra direct hit, which is good for everybody, and Troubadour, which makes it so your songs can also be used defensively, which adds virtually many uses for your songs to be present and always for bards to play songs. But wait, there's a lot more to this. Aside from that, you also get Warden's Paean, which removes one selected detrimental effect from a target party member or pet. If the target is not enfeebled, a barrier is created nullifying target's next detrimental effect suffered. So it's like a blanket Esuna. It works kind of like Esuna, but you can also put it on ahead of time if you know a target party member is going to be getting a stun, a heavy, or a poison, anything that can be Esuna off a party member, you can put it up ahead of time. As well as following it up with final ability Nature's Min, which increases HP recovery via healing magic for a party member or self by 20%. Nature's Min is the equivalent of Tank's Convalescence ability, which also increases its own HP recovery via healing magic by 20%, which makes Bard a very useful job to grab for statics and raids. Before we end the video, I have one major question. Which one do you want to play, or which one are you playing right now, and why are you playing it? If there's any kind of reasons for Bard or Machinist that I missed out on, or why you could play them, please let me know in the comment section. Maybe you have a certain preference. Maybe you like Bard for the bows, you like Machinist for the guns, you like some of their abilities. Maybe you like playing some in PvE and PvP. This is mostly just covering PvE, it does not cover any aspects in PvP, although there are some major changes for the two jobs in PvP for sure. So please, let me know in the comments below. Do you play them in PvE, PvP? How do you play them? What kind of content do you like to run? Do you prefer one or the other? Do you like both? Do you like neither? If you never played Bard or Machinist, would you consider playing either one? Please let me know which one and why. Nevertheless, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope I didn't show too much of a bias. It's hard to control the bias in the video after playing Bard for so long. It feels like all my videos are going to be coming in mostly from Bard perspective, so I hope I'm not as biased as I thought I was, and I hope I gave a proper presentation and representation of both jobs. Nevertheless, feel free to choose whichever one you want, whether you want a busy life of a Bard or very easy but clutch life of Machinist. It's up to you. Let me know in the comments below which one you would like to play or which one you're playing. Nevertheless, my name is Aiurily. Thanks so much for watching the video. Like, subscribe, and as always, have a good day, and I'll see you all next video or whatever I make. See ya!